eToro advertises with a magic phrase, zero commissions. And it sounds amazing until you make your first deposit and realize that the amount that shows up in your account isn't the same as what you said. Today I'm going to explain, without any marketing spin or beating around the bush, how eToro's commissions really work in Europe, where they charge you without you realizing it, how much each thing costs, and whether it's actually worth it depending on the country you're investing from. Let's start by breaking down the phrase you'll see most often in eToro's advertising. Zero commissions on stocks. And look, it's not a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. When I first signed up, I thought buying an Apple share would literally be free. But that's not how it works. The truth is, eToro makes money in a different, much more subtle way. The price spread. What's that? Imagine you walk into a currency exchange office. They buy euros from you at one price and sell them back to you at a slightly higher price. That difference is what the exchange office keeps. Well, eToro does exactly the same thing with every asset. There's a small gap between the price you buy at and the price you sell at, and that's where the profit comes from, without any commission showing up on the screen. For currency pairs like the euro-dollar, it's just a tiny fraction of the price. For the S&P 500 index, it's around 0.75, and for gold, it's about 0.05% of the transaction. These are small numbers. They're almost invisible, and that's exactly why they work so well for them. But here's the detail that a lot of people still don't have on their radar. In 2025, eToro made an important change. They started charging a fixed commission for trading stocks. If you buy or sell a stock on US or European exchanges, they charge you $1 per transaction. And pay attention, $1 when you buy and another when you sell. For an investor who goes long-term and only makes a few trades a year, it's a cost you barely even notice. But if you're someone who's buying and selling every week, those dollars add up way faster than you think. Now, it's not all about charging fees, and I want to be fair. ETFs, those funds that track entire indexes, still have no buy or sell commission. And that really is good news for anyone investing passively. Cryptocurrencies, on the other hand, are a whole different story. There, you pay about 1% when you buy and another 1% when you sell. So just getting in and out already costs you close to 2%. And there's something I have to give eToro credit for. All these fees are published right on their website for anyone to see. They don't try to hide them from you. The problem isn't transparency, it's that being transparent doesn't mean being cheap. Because up until now, we've only talked about what you pay when you trade, and I still haven't touched on the fees that really hurt Europeans' wallets. The ones that show up when you deposit and withdraw your own money. And that's where, believe me, your country changes absolutely everything. And here's the key that changes it all. Every eToro account operates by default in US dollars. It doesn't matter if you live in Milan, Paris, or Warsaw. On the inside, your money exists in dollars. And why does that matter so much? Because every time your money goes in or out in a currency other than a dollar, it has to be converted. And that conversion costs money. That's the famous currency conversion fee, the one most people overlook. Depending on the payment method and currency, it ranges between 0.5% and 1% of the money you move. Let me break it down with numbers. If you deposit the equivalent of 1,000 euros with a card, you could easily lose 10 or more just on conversion before you even buy anything at all. And that's just on the way in. When you withdraw your money, if it needs to be converted again, you pay once more. And there's still one more subtle move. Since the account is in dollars, if you deposit directly in dollars via bank transfer, you completely avoid eToro's conversion fees. The catch is that then your bank does the conversion, and many banks charge their own margin, sometimes even worse than the brokers. So it's not magic, it's just a matter of choosing which one gives you a better exchange rate. My practical advice, before moving a large amount, compare the exchange rate eToro gives you with your banks, and go with whichever one benefits you more. Now comes the part that really depends on where you live. eToro lets you open an account in euros. If you're in Italy or France, where your money's already in euros, you can deposit and withdraw in euros without paying that conversion fee. You save that bite on every transaction. But in Poland, things are different. The zloty, which is the Polish currency, isn't the euro. There's no eToro account in zlotys, so every time you deposit zlotys and every time you withdraw them, there's a conversion involved. Same broker, same platform, but the Polish user starts out paying a toll that the Italian and French users can skip. That's why I keep insisting you look at your specific situation and not just copy what works for someone from another country. On top of that, add the withdrawal fee. If your account is in dollars, every time you withdraw money, they charge you a flat $5 fee. And it doesn't matter if you withdraw $50 or $5,000, it's always $5. Also, the minimum withdrawal is $30. For Euro accounts, it's 30 euros. Withdrawals are free with no minimum. And watch out for the inactivity fee. If you leave your money sitting and go a full 12 months without logging in, eToro starts charging you $10 a month. It sounds harsh, but it's actually one of the easiest fees to avoid. All you have to do is log in every so often to reset the timer. You don't even have to make any trades. And don't worry, this will never put your account in the red. Now, eToro has an ace up its sleeve, the eToro Club. It's a tiered system based on how much money you have in your account, and starting at the platinum level, which requires about $25,000, they waive your currency conversion and withdrawal fees. In other words, all those costs disappear. The catch is obvious. $25,000 is out of reach for most people. That advantage does exist, sure, but it's meant for big accounts, not for someone starting out with just a few $100. So who does eToro actually make sense for? Let me be clear. It works for someone like Hugel, who invests for the long term, trades infrequently, opens their account in euros if they live in the Eurozone, and values things others don't, like being able to copy other investors' trades, have a super simple platform, and very easy access to major US stocks. And who is it not for? Not for someone who trades every week and racks up commissions, not for small accounts where that 1% conversion fee really hurts, and I'll say it again, not for those investing from outside the Eurozone, like a Polish investor with their zlotys who pays that fee on every transaction. And just to be clear, because I know this is the question that always comes up, none of this is because eToro is unsafe. Quite the opposite. The European branch is regulated by Cyprus's CYSEC, holds an official license, and operates legally throughout the European Union. In Poland, it's registered with the KNF, and for cryptocurrencies, it's registered with the AMF in France. Your money is kept in accounts separate from the brokers, with protection of up to 20,000 euros from the Cypriot Guarantee Fund. And for larger accounts, those in the higher club levels, there's even a private insurance policy that can cover up to 1 million euros. So the question was never about whether it's safe, but whether it's worth it for you. eToro isn't expensive or cheap. It depends on how and from where you use it. If you're investing for the long term, open your account in euros and don't trade often, their fees are perfectly reasonable. But if you trade frequently, manage only a small amount of money, or invest from outside the Eurozone, those currency exchange and withdrawal fees start to add up. The golden rule. If you can, always open your account in your own currency and check the fees before looking at the returns. I'm leaving the link in the description so you can open your account and check your country's conditions. If you still want to try eToro, I'm leaving the link in the description.